Good morning, everybody. Brian here. I am just making some coffee on the stove. We just woke up. It's early, but gonna pack up today. We're heading back to Vancouver soon. So before we did that, I wanted to do a video of our water system so I can show it to you all. So most of our water system is actually inside this couch. So I'm just gonna dismantle it and we're gonna get to it. Boop. And there you go. So basically what we have inside this couch, there's storage here, but we have a 37-gallon water tank here. And there's 3 holes. This is where the water comes in. It's a gravity feed, and that comes from the outside of the bus. I'll explain that in a second. And this here is the vent, which also goes to the outside. And then this is where the water comes out. We also have a shutoff valve here that allows the water to actually just drain right out of the bus, which is kind of important. That way you're not using the pump to drain out the water. It's just a lot easier. So basically the water gets sucked out of here and it gets sucked into this pump, or the pump sucks it. It sucks through a little water filter thing here. So it's kind of a screen device. And it follows the pipe there and it comes up. And what I've done is I've got a T intersection here. This pipe coming in is our shore water. So you can actually screw a hose into that and use the pressure from the hose to feed into the system rather than the pump. So you actually just open that and the water will flow freely. When you're not using it, you have to close it, otherwise the water will be forced by the pump and go back out the other way. So you have to make sure you close that. From that T, it goes up. This is our switch for the pump right here, which I currently have off because we're getting the bus ready for storage. The water then goes into the accumulator, which maybe isn't necessary for this setup because it is small, but it doesn't hurt to have it. We've also heard many things about the accumulator causing a rubber flavor in the water. So what I did was put it before our water filter. So the water goes through the water filter and here. And what we've done is we have a T intersection. This feeds into the bathroom and the shower, and this feeds down into the wall and under the floor and goes around to the kitchen. The hot water, however, has to come from the bathroom because that's where the hot water heater is, on the other side of this wall. So in order to have the hot water, you run it through that system, and then it feeds through into the kitchen. And you can use it when you feel like it. You don't have to have it on all the time. But that's why you don't see any hot water system in this area here, is because the hot water system is on the back wall there, and I'll explain that in a second. This is essentially our vanity in the bedroom bathroom combo. And inside the cabinet here, you can see in the wall here, these are the freshwater pipe and the hot water. So those come in from the other side, but essentially those feed over here. And in here, this is how the hot water system, so that pipe that you saw going into the wall actually feeds through here. And this is activated when you actually turn on the hot water. It starts this up. So this is our water heater. It's a water on demand, and it runs on 2 D-cell batteries, which trigger the pilot light, as well as pressurized water, specifically the hot water triggering, will turn on the propane and get the system running. Our system creates a lot of carbon monoxide, so we have to have this fan going when we have it on. So turn the fan on, turn the hot water on, and you can see how it starts up. And if you turn the hot water off, it shuts down. And I usually let it run for a couple seconds and shut that off. This is the underside of the hot water heater. In order to activate the whole system, you actually always have to have it on. When we're not using it, I always turn it off. This is a compartment for the 2 D-cell batteries. This is the input for the propane. Make sure when you do these, you screw them in really tight and use soapy water. This one was actually leaking a little bit, not a lot, but I could always smell a little bit of propane, and I came in here with soapy water and found out that that was leaking, so I had to tighten it. And then you have your fresh water going in and your hot water coming out. The original design of this is the shower head, and it's actually supposed to screw onto here, but what we've done is we have it going down, and there's a valve here to shut it off, but I actually have it tee off, so then it goes through to the shower head, and that goes through to the kitchen. So if you open the shower head, it will trigger the hot water, and if you open the kitchen faucet, it will trigger the hot water. So I basically allowed it to branch off into 2 locations. Because this is essentially a hot water shower, it comes with a shower head that actually has the on and off switch on it. It's a little cheap. Sometimes the first couple times you flick it on and off is a bit difficult, but the on and off is what triggers the hot water. So we have this in-floor shower hidden. You've seen it in some of our previous videos. If you haven't, go watch them. But you hang the shower head here. You can trigger on and off. So the hot water, after it exits the hot water heater and the water coming from the tank, goes through the floor here, around, through the wall here, through the kitchen, and you can see that it comes out here, and then that's where you tap into your faucet. Of course, you always want to have your shutoff valves on both ends. Just makes dealing with this stuff a lot easier. And this PEX stuff is no big deal. It's really easy to work with. You just have to have the right tools. It was very easy to install it all. And it gives you running water. So obviously the other side of the water system is the plumbing and drainage. I showed how I did all the plumbing and drainage in a previous video, but here's an example of it coming out of the kitchen sink. It's actually going into the floor. It goes through a P-trap here, and then the shower meets up with it here. And then underneath us here is our gray water tank. And then we have a drain valve that goes out the left side of the bus. You can see how I installed that in a previous video. So this is the outside of the bus. We put a lock on it. I don't know, it's one of those things where I didn't really want people to be able to mess with their water system, and at least that way if they did something I knew that it was tampered with, because you just have to unscrew that, and this is access gravity feed right into the water tank, so I would hate for somebody to put something in there. You never know. Anyways, so let me show you how this works. So for the gravity feed, you literally just put the hose right in here, and you can see there the water is just pouring right into the tank, and it gravity feeds right into it. And then the other option is to screw into there with this hose. By doing that, I just have to flip that valve on the other side that I was talking about before, and then use water pressure from the house, so you don't need to use your pumps. And then this little screen there is actually the vent. You definitely need a vent on your tank, otherwise it creates a lot of pressure and you'll have a vacuum of sorts happening, which is not good. So in a nutshell, that is our system. We kind of just did it based on what we saw online, and made our own decisions around a few things. One of the things that I can always say is it's good to put in a lot of shutoff valves in various locations as well as drain valves. With the PEX system, it's really easy to put this stuff in, so don't be intimidated. Just use your PEX tubing, your PEX wrench, your PEX collars, and it's pretty easy breezy. I would definitely tackle plumbing a little bit more complex in a different build quite easily now. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. I can help you out the best I can based on what we did. I know that everybody does it different, but hopefully we can help you and that this has actually helped you a little bit.